Howdy, guys, and welcome to night 23 of Celebrity Big Brother Season Three's overnight feed recaps. And welcome to Cliff Notes from outside the Big Brother house. A good Friday to all of y'all. Hey, we got the weekend coming up. Isn't that great? Even more important, well, maybe not so more importantly, but also very important. We've got a 2-hour live episode this evening of Big Brother. We're going to go down from 6 to 5 house guests. We're getting close, guys. So, first of all, as a little bit of a refresher, Todd Bridges is HOH. He had put up Carson and Lamar on the block, with Carson the main target, the only target, more or less. We did have a veto competition. Miesha won it, and yesterday we had the veto ceremony itself. Did Miesha use it to pull Carson off the block? No, of course she didn't. No, she left the noms exactly the same. There was little to no anticipation that she would do anything else but that. So we've got Carson and Lamar going home tonight. And as I think it was Todrick yesterday at one point told Lamar, said the chances of you going home are like 0.0005%. And he's right. I can't imagine what kind of flip would happen that would have Lamar going home and Carson staying in the house. But that isn't to say there wasn't a campaign pitch that still was made by Carson as he's trying to survive in the house. But I fully expect that tonight we're going to have a 2-1, probably a 2-1 vote. I think Cynthia will vote to save Carson, but it's going to be a 2-1 vote, sending Carson out the door. I picked him at the very beginning as one of my top winners picks. I thought he could do great, and he's done pretty well. He just made one little mistake of booting someone out of his own alliance, and he's paying the price for it tonight. So, yeah, I think it's the end of the road for Carson, and then we'll see what happens after that. So how can we summarize what happened yesterday, last night, in the overnight feeds? Well, let's put it this way. What happened last night? Sleeping, not just last night, throughout yesterday. They're allowed to sleep a whole lot more than we regular Big Brother players are ever allowed. A whole lot of sleeping, a whole lot of card playing solitaire. Cynthia actually learned how to play solitaire. A bit of cooking, some apple pies, doesn't sound too bad, and a little bit of game talk. We're going to cover all of it over the next 15 minutes or so. So first of all, let's talk about Todrick and Miesha are talking with each other. They're wondering if there's some kind of twist coming up, some kind of surprise. They just think it's a little strange that they still have 6 house guests, 5 after tonight, but 5 house guests, and they have less than a week to play of Big Brother, and wondering how they're going to get down to the final 3 for the finale night, and then final 2 for the vote. It got me thinking. It's a little tough to figure out, and especially with Chris Kattan. I don't know how that may have screwed up Big Brother's plans, schedules, etc. But it is possible that you could have a double eviction tonight, go from 6 house guests to 4. On Monday, you go down to 3. You show the different competition. So then on the finale night, you get rid of the 3rd, go to the final 2. Those numbers seem like they could work. I haven't heard really anything about a double tonight, so I don't know how it's going to work. I'm going to be surprised. Expect the unexpected, right? Thank you, Julie. So, yeah, we'll see. But they're thinking there could be some little twist going on. Good. I want everyone worried that there could be twists and things like that happening. During my season, we spent 6 or 7 weeks every Thursday saying, this is probably the double. Well, you say it enough times, eventually you're right. But yeah, I want them to be wondering how this thing's going to work out as well. So we did have that conversation. We've got a complaint from Cynthia. She went into the storage room and said, hey, Big Brother, we could do with some clean towels in here. How nice must it be just to turn in your clothes and some little laundry fairy goes off and washes them and dries them and brings them back to you and leaves them in the storage room. We didn't have that during my season. We had the washer and dryer in the backyard. You only had access to it about 2 days a week. As soon as the backyard would open up, I'd go running back there with a big old armload of towels. I wasn't the only one, but I was one of the primary ones. Going back there with a big armload of towels. I'd get those towels going in the washer before everyone lined up to wash their personal clothes. Get everything dried, back into the bathroom. And I swear, 24 hours later, every one of those towels was dirty and wet and everything else. There were people in that house that must have used a dozen towels a day. When you only have a washer dryer 2 days a week, it's okay if you reuse the towel that you maybe dried off just a few hours before, but whatever. But yeah, Cynthia's saying we probably need some more clean towels. So she's worried about that a little bit. We've got Todd How is this for you? We had Todd Bridges come in talking to Lamar. Todd's kind of upset. Maybe that's not right. Todd realizes that he's probably the next big target of Miesha and Todrick as soon as Carson's out the door. And he's probably right. So Todd's a little perturbed about that. He comes in, he tells Lamar, says, all right, I'm going to blow up the house. I'm going to force a tie in the vote tonight. And then he remembers that as HOH, he can't vote, and that Lamar as a nominee, he can't vote either. And at that point, Todd says, there's really not much we can do about tonight, is there? No, Todd, the die has been set. It's certainly out of your hands. It's out of Lamar's hands as well. It all comes down to Todrick and Miesha, who have 2 of the 3 votes. And we know which way they're going to vote. But Todd, at least, seems to be making it very clear. He wants to go against Todrick and Miesha. Maybe too late, but that's his game plan. And that's what he and Cynthia and Lamar need to do if they expect to stay in the house. They got to gang up against the 2 strong players that they're still left in there in Miesha and Todrick. Later, we got Lamar asking Miesha if she's going to be competing in the HOH tomorrow. Yeah, I think she probably will be, Lamar, and she'll probably be a front runner to win it, depending on what kind of competition it is. But I can't see. I don't know if Lamar meant that as just, are you playing because you feel like playing in the HOH, or if he meant from a strategy standpoint. And I can possibly see a situation where if it's a head-to-head, everyone sees how everyone else is doing. Miesha sees Todrick possibly winning the HOH, that she backs off, lets him have it so that she can then compete for the HOH and Final Four. That's not a bad strategy. Now, there's a part of me that thinks Misha's enough of a competitor. She may not ever be willing to throw an HOH, strategy-wise or not. So I'm not sure she would even do that. But if Todrick isn't in the lead, heck yeah, Misha's got to win this HOH, because if Todd or Lamar or Cynthia win it, Todrick and Miesha are in a huge world of hurt. So they're all going to be gunning for this thing, all of them, trying to win it. So we got that. Cynthia asking Todd and Lamar if they've had a Final Four with Todrick and Miesha. She's wondering if she's kind of the lone wolf against these other 4. Todd says, well, until this week, maybe we did. Lamar says no, and we've got to get rid of Todrick and Miesha. They're all casting the lots together. They know what has to be done. Todd's talking to Carson and Cynthia and wondering about a final 2. You're getting to the end of the season when people are vocalizing how jury votes and things like that would go. Todd is wondering if he could beat Todrick in a jury vote. I don't know. Maybe because as many kind of snipey remarks and things like that Todrick has said against some of the people that were in the house, I could see people who, even in a regular season, but especially since the jury had sequestered this year and heard some of those comments, I can see a lot of jury members that may have a little bit of a grudge against Todrick and potentially would vote for Todd at the end. It depends on if we're going to have a bitter jury or not, and that's always a big question. I think a lot of it depends on what happens this week, who wins that final competition and drags the other person into the final 2. But with that being said, I think the only way you get a Todd Bridges and a Todrick final 2 is if, I don't know how you get that, because I think Todrick drags anyone to a final 2 over Todd. I think Todd drags anyone into a final 2 over Todrick. So I'm not sure that you would ever get that situation, but maybe, I don't know. And enough bitter jury, and maybe Todd could take the whole thing. I'd be all right with that at this point in time. All right, we've got Todd. Todd upset. Todd is kind of upset yesterday. The stress is hitting all of him, but Todd's a little upset. Miesha apparently told him that he talks more than Todrick, and Todd just doesn't like hearing that. He talked about it throughout the whole evening, back and forth to different people. I can't believe Miesha would say I talk more than Todrick. There's no way. Todrick talks so much. Todd talks a lot. Lamar talks a lot. Todrick talks a lot. They just talk in different ways. Todd seems to talk loud. He just, the volume of his voice sometimes a little higher than everyone else, but he just seems a little concerned that Miesha thinks that he's a big talker. Hey, Big Brother loves people who talk a lot, Todd. That may be one of the reasons that you got in as a celebrity Big Brother house guest. All right, we got Todrick talking to Miesha about just Big Brother history, the game in general. He's telling her that he's watched 20 seasons of Big Brother. Good, Todrick. I'm glad we've got some real fans in the house. Shanna was a real big fan as well. Todrick saying he's watched 20 episodes or 20 seasons of Big Brother. He's telling Misha that he wants to see good Big Brother. He had to watch season 16, season 19. Maybe Todrick focusing on season 16 is where he's tried to play the game as strategically as he's tried to play. He hadn't played it as well as Derek did. I'll just say that. But he is telling her 16 and 19 are good seasons to watch for gameplay and all of that. Later, Cynthia is talking about Big Brother as well. She's saying she watched all the Big Brothers that they made them watch during sequester, that she watched all of them to study what she was going to say and all that. I was planning to do that during sequester before I went into the Big Brother house during my season. And they didn't have any Big Brother DVDs for me to watch. I was just thinking I was going to spend days and days watching nothing but Big Brother and getting up to speed, just studying, focusing on it. I didn't have any of the DVDs, so that was unfortunate. I would have learned. It's not as though I have already watched all the seasons, but it would have been nice to get a whole big cram course right before I went in the house, but they didn't give me that option. We got lots of talk about apple pie, the best way to eat it. Add-ins, cheese. Do you eat it hot? Do you eat it cold? Do you put ice cream on it? Made me kind of hungry. So the house guests definitely have been eating well. I think Carson said something about it's hard to lose weight in the house because there's always so much food. Yeah, we're not Survivor. We get a bit of food while we're in that Big Brother house. We haven't really talked gameplay. Not a lot of it yet, right? A little bit. We do have our campaign pitch, though, that Carson is making to try to survive. He basically approached Todrick and said, look, from the very beginning, when we entered this house, we basically had a deal that we would try to watch out for each other, right? And if there was ever a time, Todrick, for me to call in that favor, this is it. And so he's telling Todrick that if Todrick will save Carson, vote out Lamar instead, in exchange, Carson and Cynthia both are promising Todrick that they will cast their jury votes for him to win the big title at the end of the season. That's interesting, promising jury votes for protection inside the house. And really, that may be the one thing that would get Todrick's attention is two theoretically guaranteed votes when it comes to the final two. Because if he thinks he's going up against Misha, he may feel like he needs those votes as well. So they promised to both give him their jury votes. I don't think it'll happen. I think Todrick's smart enough that he understands that Carson and Cynthia have to be broken up. It's time to send Carson out the door. Otherwise, you're playing with fire. I certainly would rather compete against Lamar and Todd and Cynthia as opposed to competing against Todd and Cynthia and Carson when it comes to the next HOH and all of that. And Todd can't compete in anyway, but you know what I mean. Carson is talking to Cynthia. He's reminding Cynthia that, look, once I'm gone, you're going to be the swing vote. You got Todd and Lamar over here. You got Todrick and Misha over here. They're all going to be fighting for you. You're going to be the belle of the ball, Cynthia. And she hadn't really realized that, but she's thinking about it a little bit. And yeah, they may fight for her votes a little bit. Final five is such a strange situation. You just don't have a lot of targets to go for. And I don't know, but yeah, they all may be fighting for Cynthia, but she's going to be with Todd. It won't be much fighting. She'll be with Todd and Lamar as much as she can. Carson telling Cynthia that he thinks there's a chance that Todrick may take them up on their deal unless Misha forbids it. I don't think he's going to do it. I just don't think he's going to do it. We get some non-game talk, lots of stories about dating and dating services. See, even celebrities have the same concerns, worries, issues, desires that all the rest of us peasants have as well. Carson told a pretty funny story. He told a story about joining a VIP dating service. And he's getting all these, I guess, I don't know how, they get notifications or seeing all these big time actors and athletes and kickboxers and all these different people. And he was amazed that they were all gay. But then he realized that he had messed up and he'd set his setting on female, and that all these actors and athletes that he was messaging, they were all straight. And he was messaging because he had just messed up and put female for his classification. So yeah, that was kind of funny, kind of embarrassing, I guess. But Carson, he may not care, may not be that embarrassed. So we got that, and then finally, Todrick talking. I've heard I knew who Todrick was before the season started, but I'd heard there was a little controversy about him maybe not paying dancers and things like that. Well, Todrick talked about on the show. He said that talking about potentially not paying dancers and his video editors, and him saying that a lot of dancers dance for free because of the exposure and all of that. He says basically it's a smear campaign that's against him, started by some dancer that wasn't invited to go on his world tour with them. And basically just Todrick trying to explain his side of this controversy. And so he'll be doing a lot of explaining when he gets outside of the house with regards to, I guess, paying your dancers or not, and a whole lot of other things as well. But Todrick did talk about it, so he's aware of it, and it's going to be interesting when Todrick gets out of the house. All right, and with that being said, lights out for most of the house guests around 1:30 or so. I think Misha was still up in I think the clock room, still playing solitaire. Lights are off everywhere else. There's not much going on, so I called it quits about that time. So that being said, tonight's a big eviction. Carson's going home. It's got to be Carson going home. Will we have a double eviction? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. But we should have the HOH competition tonight. It's going to be a big one. If Todrick or Misha wins that HOH, Todd will be heading out the door, unless he wins veto, and then it'll be Cynthia or Lamar. If Cynthia, Lamar, or Todd win HOH tonight, then I think it'll be either Misha or Todrick who heads out the door. Which would make for a little more interesting Final Four. I'd say a Final Four of, I don't know, Todrick and Cynthia and Lamar and Todd. That could be a fun one to watch. But we'll find out this evening, hopefully. We'll see if that HOH is on the live feeds or not. Not sure if it'll be a quick one. But anyway, tonight, big 2-hour episode. Carson's likely going home, and then we'll see what happens for the last few days of Big Brother Season 3, Celebrity Big Brother. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Friday. The weekend's here. Get ready for that. I will talk to y'all tomorrow morning and let y'all know what happened this evening. Until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.